Hello, boys and girls. Mr. Paust here. We're learning so much about Germany. We're learning about the religion, Christianity. We're learning about foods, bratwurst and pretzels, schnitzel. We're learning about their favorite game, which is soccer. Their language, which is German. We're learning about traditions and festivals they have. We're learning about their holidays and Christmas. Learning about interesting facts such as the cars they make, the Porsche. We're learning about different dance moves that they do in Germany. Today, I want to focus on language arts and the Brothers Grimm. There's been so many great stories that have come from Germany. Little Red Riding Hood, and today we have Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel lived by the forest with their stepmother and their father, who was a poor woodcutter. One evening, the family had nothing to eat but a few crusts of bread. Hansel and Gretel went to bed feeling hungry. As they lay there, they heard their stepmother and father talking. "There are too many mouths to feed," said their stepmother. "We must take your children to the forest and leave them there." "Never," cried their father. "Well, I'm not going to starve," their stepmother shouted. "The children are going, and that's it." Gretel began to cry, but Hansel comforted her. "Don't worry, I'll think of something," he promised. The next morning, Hansel and Gretel were woken by their stepmother at daybreak. "We're going into the forest to chop wood," she cried, and she gave Hansel and Gretel a crust of bread, each for their lunch. Hansel broke the bread into tiny pieces as they walked along. "Your stepmother and I are going to chop wood now," the children's father said, while they were deep in the forest. "We'll return for you at sunset." The children shared Gretel's bread, and then they curled up at the foot of an old oak tree and fell asleep. When Hansel and Gretel woke up, it was dark and their little fire had gone out. "Let's follow the trail of breadcrumbs I left," whispered Hansel as he comforted his sister. But the breadcrumbs were gone. The forest birds had eaten them all up. "Well, we'll wait until morning," Hansel said. "When it's light, we'll find our way home." "Woo, woo." The next morning, the children were woken by the sound of birdsong. A white bird flapped its wings as if to beckon them. "Look," cried Hansel, "maybe that bird will lead us home." But the white bird led them deeper into the forest to a little house made of gingerbread. The roof was dripping with frosting, the windows were framed with candy canes, and the garden was filled with lollipops. Delighted, the hungry children began to feast upon the candies. Suddenly the door opened. Creak! An old woman hobbled out. "Nibble, nibble, like a mouse. Who's nibbling at my house?" she croaked. "I can't see very well. Who are you?" "Just two hungry children," Hansel replied. "Ah," said the old woman. "Well, you better come inside, and I'll make you a proper meal." The old woman gave Hansel and Gretel a plate piled high with delicious pancakes. They ate until they were ready to burst. Then she showed them to their two little beds. They snuggled down under the soft blankets and fell fast asleep. But Hansel and Gretel didn't know that the kind woman was really a wicked witch. "I'll soon fatten those two up," she cackled. "Then they will make me a proper meal for me." The following morning, the witch dragged Hansel from his bed and threw him into a cage. "Give your brother a big breakfast," she ordered Gretel. "He is too skinny. I'll keep him locked up until he is nice and plump. And then I'll eat him." Every morning over the next few days, the witch made Hansel stick out his fingers so she could feel whether he was fat enough to eat. But Hansel was clever. He knew the old witch could hardly see, so he stuck a chicken bone through the cage instead. "Still too scrawny," the witch would say. One day the witch grew tired of waiting. "Whether he be fatter or thinner, I'll have Hansel for my dinner," she crowed. "Light the oven," the witch ordered Gretel. "Now crawl in and see whether it's hot enough." Gretel knew the witch was planning to cook her as well, so she said, "The oven's much too small for me." "Even if I could fit inside the oven, look," said the witch, sticking her head inside. This was Gretel's chance. She pushed the witch into the oven and slammed the door. Gretel quickly freed Hansel from the cage. "We're safe. Let's go home," they happily sang. There were chests full of gold and sparkling jewels in the witch's house. Hansel and Gretel filled their pockets before they left. Back in the forest, the white bird was waiting to lead Hansel and Gretel home. Their delighted father greeted them with hugs. He told them that their cruel stepmother had left. Hansel showed him the treasure they had found. "We will never go hungry again," he cried. And they all lived happily ever after. The white bird sat on the rooftop, sang for them every day. So this is an awesome story, Hansel and Gretel, and it came from Germany. So, we love to read in this classroom, and here we go. ELA, English Language Arts story from Germany. Hope you enjoyed it, boys and girls.